Dolynny TV, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another edition of Edmonton Oilers discussion here on the channel this fine Wednesday. My goodness, these are barely off my face. Computer's ready to go, and we are good to go, as let me tell you, it has been an exciting day. I had a great day at work, but that's not why. It's an exciting day in my books. The Oilers back-to-back days decided to sign players yesterday. Gaetan Oss getting a big old contract extension for next season. Now, something to confirm that we've been waiting on for about since April 22nd is when that first article came out in the Swedish media about Theodor Lennstrom. Well, ladies and gentlemen, he's signed and in with the Edmonton Oilers. And the thing is, I want to correct some stuff that I talked about from earlier. I still haven't had the chance to watch some highlights. Maybe it's something I can do, and no, I'm not going to include highlights in this video, but just quickly, I want to show you some of the stuff from Tobias and JT. They commented on the video from a few days ago where I talked about the Oilers looking to sign Lennstrom, right? I talked about him being an AHL kind of top four defenseman, maybe an NHL bubble player if he pushes, that kind of thing. My complication with that is, of course, it's on the left side. The Oilers very deep there as it is in the franchise as well. I don't see really much change in the left side going into next year. I mean, depends what happens in the pause season or in the playoffs if they happen, and then injuries, and then you got to resume the NHL the next month, right? That kind of thing could throw things for a loop. But as it stands, really the depth chart is against a guy like Theodor Lennstrom when he signs with the Oilers. But talk about this, there are some positives to Lennstrom that I wasn't aware of, that I couldn't find just willy-nilly in an article kind of dilly. So Tobias says he's a smart defender, bigger steps in his development in hockey, so that's kind of what the past few years have developed for him. And Tobias talks about how he reminds him kind of like Erik Karlsson, the way he plays at this point. So remember, he's a left-hand shot on the defense. He's 6'1", I believe 190, so he's not the biggest guy, but he's an effective defenseman. Now, JT was disagreeing with me, and I think we've kind of gone over a couple of different things in the replies. You can find these comments, I'm sure I'm out to lunch at this point now, in the comments section of the Lennstrom video from the other day, but disagree with the comparison. I did compare him to being a lesser person, but here's what JT talks about. It's not the offensive side, it's the defensive side, and it's kind of what Tobias was hinting with. The smart side is, simply put, I've seen Lennstrom play twice, and unlike Persson, Förlander's coach had not a problem tossing Theodor Lennstrom on the ice in his own zone. That's kind of right back in Sweden deal. Persson never touched the ice in his own zone or when shorthanded. So this is, again, a guy who's been gifted different ice time than Joel Persson, Theodor Lennstrom has. This is, of course, according to JT. Take it as you will. I don't know how you like eyewitness reports. I mean, I still need to watch the guy play, but there's still this good news to hear, right? This is from people that claim to have heard him. Good to go. You know what? At least there's some more insight than what we can just read in the article that says, oh, he had 15 points, right? What does that do of what kind of player he is? And that's kind of what I noticed after getting these two comments. But there is a bigger difference. Persson did too many open ice passes, kind of like, and he likens them to one of my all-time most hated Edmonton Oilers, Marc-Andre Bergeron. Yeah, you can probably figure out why. Did when he was an Oiler, and Theodor Lennstrom uses the boards better and sees the ice a little bit better than Joel Persson. So not necessarily more offensive, but more effective on the ice is what JT's kind of breaking down here for Theodor Lennstrom, and that's good news. Right, he's signed to an entry-level contract. That's all around good news. We're not going to mind too much that Theodor Lennstrom comes in and really doesn't fill a hole, but at the same rate doesn't hurt us by being in the team structure. Because you talk about the Oilers, I talked about it in the Lennstrom video the other day, as you look at the Oilers as a whole in the minor league system, you've got Manning expiring. He's probably not coming back. Broberg is on loan again next year, so count him out. Samorukov, Legason, Keegan Lowe on your left side, and now you've got Theodor Lennstrom in there. So that gives you a solid core of 4 players. Let me tell you one thing about Bakersfield is there are guys, yes, pushing probably up from the ECHL on deals, I believe, like Vinny Desharnais, but right, you want to have capable defenders, and especially especially if you start seeing a guy like Dmitry Samorukov get that call up mid-season next year. This is added protection, veteran experience to a blue line, especially if something doesn't happen with Keegan Lowe this offseason, right? Keegan Lowe's a guy that's been around. He's been the captain of the team. He's been here, done that with the Bakersfield Condors. And now you kind of see what the Condors are doing all around and what the Oilers are starting to do. And that's where we'll shift away from Lennstrom. I've already broken down Lennstrom. You can check out the video. You can kind of get that. I've corrected what I need to correct. Let's get to the other news of the day, in which Brad Malone and Luke Esposito signed AHL contracts with the Bakersfield Condors. So Brad Malone, a guy who's been on with the Oilers at the NHL level in terms of contract status, right? Not an NHL player. Well, he was last year, but not this year. He's now a full-time committed AHL player coming back next season on an AHL deal. Same with Luke Esposito, who I believe was already on an AHL deal, but that adds to a team that already for sure will most likely include Raphael Lavoie. You got to figure out what goes on with Josh Curry. I know everybody down in Bakersfield is either pulling him to find that hole where maybe Patrick Russell might be leaving from. Joseph Gambardella will be there. You've got Brad Malone back, right? You've got Thomas Yurko, Cameron Hebig. They're both up in the air right now, but Ostap Safin, Kirill Maximov, Tyler Benson if he doesn't push all the way up, and even really realistically, Tyler Benson at 22-23 pushing in the minors still ain't a bad thing, right? Think about what Kyler Yamamoto did. If we get that out of a Tyler Benson, who's had a weirder development curve, no problem. Ryan McLeod will be back down there. Cooper Marodi's down there again next year. And then Ryan Kuffner's a guy I haven't heard anything of, but we'll find out what happens with him. His entry-level contract expires this year. He'll be an RFA. And then Marcus Granlund as well, who will most likely be moving on next year. So that's kind of the cast and crew up front for the Bakersfield Condors that Brad Malone and Luke Esposito will join into when all things are considered. And don't forget about the college kids the Condors signed as well. So in this pause season, what's happened now that the deals with the European leagues were signed yesterday is this now allows teams to kind of fill out those positional roster needs within the organization, not necessarily within the NHL level, but within the organization, right? You think a guy like Joel Persson, who was in the system for several years, I think he was in the system for 2 years prior to coming over this year, and now you talk about him rotating out and this bringing in another guy, and of course talk about the angle of Ken Holland loving his Europeans and bringing them into the system to fill in what he deems to be organizational needs. That's fine, that's dandy, because as I said, right, the lefty is solid at the NHL level for the most part. There is room to be pushed in case of injury. That's where I talk Samorukov. You can talk Lennstrom all you want for sure because he's very viable as well. And that leaves also Bakersfield kind of in that happy medium of we've got enough guys, but in case of injury, we've got guys that are capable of elevating at the NHL level or AHL level depending on the needs. So that's kind of the interesting part there with this Lennstrom signing. And of course with Malone coming back and Luke Esposito coming back, that's just keeping the crew together down there in Bakersfield, right? You think, guys, at this point I can't even say how valuable a Brad Malone is on the farm team. This guy's been in the NHL off and on pretty much all his hockey career, and now all of a sudden has spent a full season down in the minors, now signs a minor league deal, and now he's going to see what ends up coming out of this at the end of time, because you see he spent 16 games with us at the NHL level on a thin Oilers roster in 18-19 towards the end of the year, but he played 43 games with Condors last season, 25 points, but led the team in scoring in the playoffs. And then this year was up at 31 points in 49 games on a Bakersfield Condors team that just could not stay healthy at the best of times. So you talk about Luke Esposito, what he's done. Quickly, I can get you those stats because those are a little bit harder to find. If you're trying to find those right now, you have to go to bakersfieldcondors.com and go to the stats page, in which you'll find Luke Esposito currently 6th on the team in scoring with 25 points in 56 games, a mainstay on that roster, and a guy who is very effective, right? At the AHL level, 25 points, I believe I said? Yeah, 25 points, not too bad for a centerman who would be regularly playing behind Brad Malone and, of course, Cooper Marody, and then Ryan McLeod rounding it out, kind of situational with Luke Esposito, I'm sure. Again, wish I could have watched some Condors videos this year, or games this year. I don't know why I didn't. Guys, regrets. But that's your news cycle for today with the Edmonton Oilers. If there's anything more, I'll have it for you a little bit later on. I'm Tyson, this is Dolynny TV. I will catch you, as always, in the next one.